But for now, the local sultan was suddenly beginning to regret his association with the Barbarossas, so Hayreddin, sensing the change of mood, and with Aruj still gravely ill, gave orders to raise the scuttled vessels and attempt to get them seaworthy enough to limp back to Djerba, where they would spend the next year on repairs and maintenance. As Aruj's health gradually returned, he became obsessed with taking another crack at the bougie fortress. Despite his brother's entreaties, he had already corresponded with the exiled sultan, and the two had agreed to repeat the same plan they had nearly pulled off 2 years earlier. So it was that in August of 1514, the Spanish garrison at Bougie once again found itself under siege, with reports telling us that the walls came under such intense bombardment that it was almost levelled to the ground. But as September arrived, it brought with it the precious rains that the Berber farmers depended on. Within days, the Sultan's army, largely composed of his agriculture-dependent subjects, dwindled to just a handful, as the men slunk away to plough their own fields and sow their crops. Worse still, a Spanish supply fleet was sighted offshore, and the frustrated Barbarossas were once again forced to call off their siege and retreat. By this time, there was no going back to Tunis. The shame of a second failure would be intolerable, nor would he go back to Djerba. It was just too far away from the action. So they packed up and made for a small bay some miles east, called Djidjeli, a sleepy fishing village, but one with a sheltered harbour. Another couple of shipping raids across to Sardinia before the season was out supplied them with enough grain to overwinter, a resource they shared with the local impoverished Berbers, who, in gratitude, elected Aruj to be their sultan. Well, with this new title, modest as it was, Aruj turned his attention inland and spent the next year engaging in Berber politics in an attempt to secure for himself a fiefdom worthy of his growing reputation. Vanquishing the traditional tribal rivals of his subjects, surrounding regions soon submitted to his rule, and Aruj became quite the local warlord,